Have you ever been to Vegas? The entire city is designed to bombard your senses. They want you to feel the money, and the money is everywhere. Countless interlocking hotels where the only exit is a stadium-sized casino spread like a giant metropolis over the foundations of the city. One of the hotels is Greek-themed, and you might be like, oh nice, so it's like a smaller version of ancient Greece? No! It's 1-to-1 scale. It's insane. The amount of money going in and out of that city every day is impossible to comprehend, and they want you to know it. But after a late night, say you make your way down to the casino vending machines for a slice of pizza or a cake. You zone out for a bit and just wander. Just a few seconds pass, but now you find yourself in a place where the beeps and boops have stopped. The people are gone. The lights, once colored and flashing, are now flickering fluorescent. You can hear the buzz humming through the hollow air, reverberating. A moth flutters its wings above, a faint wet drip on concrete. You look up and the space extends into darkness, bending around. You look down, all there is more concrete stairs. You have found yourself in a liminal space. Liminal, simply put, means in between. In the Vegas case, it's made even more distinct because of the money aspect. Money drips off every aspect of Vegas. Everything except the emergency exits, which must be up to code and are just simple concrete stairways. They clash with the casino cacophony just one threshold away. The distinction can creep you out if you aren't careful. There is something unsettling about liminal spaces. These are the places the builder chose not to focus on. You aren't meant to linger, you are meant to be shuffled to the next destination, where all the intent of the builder is meant to seduce you to stay. But what if you lingered in the space where you shouldn't? The corner where 3 concrete walls meet. There's nothing there. There's no reason to look at it. Why would you? I dare you to look at it. See what happens. See how it makes you feel. The liminal aesthetic has been popularized by video games and ARGs, but you can find it in movies as well. Many great filmmakers have a liminal quality to their work. David Lynch or the Coen brothers, for example. You can take a story and map it out spatially, and it will build to climactic moments. These are the destinations, with intent to make an impact, and then you have the in-between scenes that get you there, meant to propel you through quickly without resistance. What if a story instead focused on those liminal scenes, the scenes that had previously been in-between scenes, were now major impactful scene events in the story? When I say that, what movies do you think of? The main one I think of is Reservoir Dogs. Pauline Kael once said of the Godard film Band of Outsiders, it's like someone took the pages of a pulp crime novel and made a movie about the poetry that happens in between the lines. Tarantino read that line in his 20s and said, "That's my aesthetic. That's my aesthetic." So here's a map of the story. We have destination scenes here and in between scenes here. What about here? If this is your sandbox, with your locations, your characters, your props, all the toys for you to play with, it's a space designed to let you linger and play. But don't you wonder, what's over the edge? What's out there past the boards that hold the sand and toys in? If you peek over and look, your eyes weren't meant to see that. We're actually getting into quantum mechanics here, but I digress. In the movie Die Hard, criminals take a Christmas party hostage at Nakatomi Plaza in Los Angeles, but John McClane slips through their fingers. He can move freely through the hotel and foil their plans. In one respect, Die Hard has scenes of air ducts, elevator shafts, hallways. These are in-between spaces, and Die Hard can be considered a liminal movie. But as a sandbox, it's all there in Nakatomi Plaza. The liminal beyond the sandbox is never addressed. In the case of Die Hard, it shouldn't be because that would break the movie's identity. The tightly constructed sandbox is part of the fun. Imagine if when John McClane gets to the roof, he miraculously finds a hang glider. He decides to hang glide off the roof to safety and warn the cops, maybe get a cup of coffee, watch it on TV. The second he leaves the plaza and floats down into wider LA, that is peeking over the sandbox of the story. Often it can be kind of humorous, or sometimes just plain stupid, so you have to be careful. But it's useful for inspiration to think about these spaces in storytelling that are not meant to be focused on. What's there if you do look at them? You can make whole movies about that, and many great filmmakers do. Here are the top 5 liminal movies. Honorable mention to the movies that I've already mentioned, but they are not actually in the top 5, even Reservoir Dogs. And you will never guess my number 1. Number 5, After Hours by Martin Scorsese. The title says it all. After hours are liminal. They are the moments in between business hours. Business hours are where all the focus and craft go into the day, but what happens to these places after hours? That's not the only liminal aspect of this movie either, and it has a great sandbox, and one moment where it peeks over the edge of the sandbox. I'll let you watch it and decide what that moment is. Number 4, The Long Goodbye by Robert Altman. I don't fully understand why I love this movie. As I can recall, I thought it was borderline boring when I watched it, but it has sat with me so well since then. I remember it so fondly, even the parts that felt boring when I was in them. This could be a quality of the liminal. The way you remember a road trip with your friends, it's the memory of a lifetime. But you kind of forget you were just sitting for hours at a time doing nothing with your butt hurting when you're driving. Not because your friends are raping you in the butt or anything. I don't know what kind of road trips you went on. But before you ask, let me say yes, it is absolutely valid for a movie's ambitions to lie with how it sits in your memory more than how you experience it in real time. Often these types of movies are the ones that grow on you and become old friends that you can return to over and over again. Number 3, Good Time by the Safdie brothers. Good Time is like if you recorded a Grand Theft Auto 3 crime spree, but it was constructed with such a cinematic and psychological edge that it has you questioning if it's written or just plain happened. Improv beyond acting, improv of the creator, the great builder. It feels like improvisational storytelling and finds itself in the liminal. Number 2, Anora. Anora hits the fun trifecta with liminal spaces, liminal storytelling focus, and the sandbox peak. The entire movie is about what happens after Happily Ever After. The movie is arguably more liminal than my number 1, but just not quite as iconic yet. Number 1, Dumb and Dumber. Every road movie is liminal, and Dumb and Dumber is the best road movie of all time. One of the greatest movies of all time. I don't even watch it as a comedy, I watch it as a liminal storytelling masterpiece. Watch it again today if you haven't seen it in a while. It speaks for itself. So that's it for my thoughts on liminal spaces in movies and storytelling. If you like this stuff, definitely subscribe to my mailing list where I publish essays like this once in a while, and I have a whole book on storytelling that gets into some of this stuff called interactivity. Thank you.